Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People, where you'll hear crazy stories about people who truly believe that the world revolves around them. Guys, I know what you're thinking. The title is absolutely absurd. Just when you think these stories can't possibly get more outrageous, they do. They somehow do. My friends, brace yourselves because there's going to be a whole lot of head shaking in this one, I can tell you that. I hope you enjoy the stories today and do hit that subscribe button for future stories. If you're new here, let's dive in. So I'm a type 1 diabetic, and in the morning, I went out for a bike ride. So as I'm a diabetic, I always bring snacks with me in case I go low or get hungry. I bring a juice box, a few glucose tablets, 2 fruit bars, and 2 granola bars. Just enough for me to be able to correct my blood sugar twice and have a small snack. So as I was biking home, I passed somebody sitting on the ground who looked like they were kind of distressed. So I pulled over to ask if they were okay. The guy was a little younger than me, and he told me he was a diabetic, and showed me his medic alert bracelet. He explained that he had gone too low while biking, but forgot to refill the snacks in his bag when he left. So he was trying to figure out what to do. I offered him my snacks and to sit with him while we waited for it to go back up, explaining that I too was a diabetic. So after I sat with him and gave him some tablets, a woman comes over and asked for my juice box, for her daughter. I explained I was giving him what I had because he was a diabetic and had low blood sugar, and he needed it. I also explained that I'm a diabetic, and I needed the rest to ensure that I could get home safe. Now, at this point, she started to tell me that she and her daughter had been biking for a few hours, and her daughter was really hungry, and just wanted my juice box and a granola bar. I asked if her daughter was diabetic, and she said no. So I apologized, and again explained nicely that I need these for myself. And this is the following conversation. I told her I gave him some because he's a diabetic, and his blood sugar is way low. For reference, our blood sugar is supposed to be between 4 to 8, and his was 2.3. Karen then asked, "Do you know him?" I told her no, but as a diabetic, I know how dangerous lows can be, and if I was in his position, I'd hope a fellow diabetic would try to help me. Karen responds, "So you don't know him?" So the conversation continued like that, her asking why I cared if I didn't know him, and me giving the same explanation, until the guy rechecked his blood sugar and it was back up to 3.5. This was still a little too low for the both of us to feel comfortable, so I grabbed my juice to give him. And this is when Karen went berserk. She tried to grab the juice box out of my hand, saying that if his blood sugar was still low, that I should just call an ambulance, and then I could give my snacks to her and her daughter and stop being selfish. At this point, I was honestly kinda pissed. I told her to go away and that as a mom, she should have thought to brought snacks for her daughter. She went red in the face, she called me a selfish bitch and stormed back to her daughter. The guy's level went back up, and we parted ways, and as I started to bike away, I heard her shout after me, giving me the middle finger. She was a nice lady. Boy, some friggin' people, guys. Imagine being pissed at somebody who decided to help a person in a medical crisis, instead of sharing their snacks with you and your kid. OP was literally a lifesaver in this situation. Come on, Karen, use common sense. OP totally should have responded with, "I don't know you either, so why should I share my snacks with you, you crazy person?" Okay, so brace yourselves. I'm about to tell a tale of a woman who thought she was so entitled that she could use a department store as her own free shop. So to start, I worked in a large department store back before there was Etsy or any similar service for artists to open up independent shops. I worked in the back office, not out on the floor. So one day, one of the checkout girls called me over and said they were trying to scan a lady out, but one of her items didn't have a barcode. I figured maybe it'd been stuck on somewhere strange, but I checked it out and I didn't see anything. In fact, I did not even recognize the item when I looked to see where I could find a second one to scan, and I knew the store pretty well. Now, I gotta tell you, it was an absurdly hideous piece of almost homemade looking costume jewelry. It wasn't anything we offered. I thought maybe we had a new supplier and I was unaware of it, so I looked at the tag and lo and behold, it was a hand-drawn price tag. So definitely not ours. There were a lot of shops in the area, so I figured somebody brought it in nearby and it slipped out of their bag, or they set it down by accident, and this customer assumed we were selling it because of the price tag. I figured whoever left it would be back to look for it soon, and I want to note that it was way overpriced, $80 for one necklace. So I brought it to customer service and returned to business as usual, of counting the minutes to close and regretting my life choices. But as the day marched on, a few more people appeared with similar stuff. Some more jewelry mostly. One with a sweater that was actually a sweater that we did sell, but with huge garnished rhinestones added on it that were definitely not a SKU that we offered. People kept coming to check out with lots of things we actually sold, like makeup mirrors, handbags, and shoes, but with all the unnecessary rhinestones, sequins, and beads glued on. Now, this definitely did not come from us or the original manufacturer. So finally, the manager just had a staff do a sweep of the store and collect anything with rhinestones on it, or anything with a handmade price tag, and put them in the lost and found. Our working theory was that someone got into a fight with their shopping companion and did it out of spite. Like maybe a couple broke up or something, but we'd resigned ourselves to the fact that we'd never know. Our lost and found was a single basket about the size of a TSA security bin at the airport, and there was so much of this stuff that it overflowed past the top. So after a couple of days, we dumped it all in the trash. So a few days after that, a middle-aged woman comes in, decked out from head to toe in sequins and glitter and rhinestones with neon makeup, like a 6th grader would wear to their first school dance, and asked to speak to the person in charge, identifying herself as one of your partners. Now at this point, I knew we were about to get some answers to the other day's mystery. At this point, I stopped all my work. I was ready to hear how and why she ended up leaving half of her wardrobe scattered around, and why anybody would voluntarily dress like that after 40. So I listened to her going at it with customer service, and it became clear that she had bought things here. She then bedazzled them, either by purchasing them or covertly bedazzling in the store without buying the items. We never did find out which. She then put them back on the shelves and now expected to collect a check after they were purchased, at an upsell price that she had added on with her handmade price tag. So apparently she had done this in a few stores and was going around with business cards claiming her designs, which were bedazzled versions of department store products, were sold in big department stores. She called it Karen's Fab Designs, as seen on shelves of Macy's, Nordstrom, JCPenney, and more. The manager explained that this was not a consignment store and she couldn't just leave altered products here for people to buy and expect to split the money with us. She was sure that we must just not understand that she had improved the items with rhinestones, thereby making them more valuable, and was shocked when the realization set in that we did understand, but we still didn't want her doing it. She was irate, offended, and threatened to break off the partnership that we didn't want, and we didn't know we had, and eventually demanded her stuff back. So at this point, the more senior manager on the floor had come by and explained that we had gotten rid of her stuff because she didn't bother to explain this arrangement to any of us, and we were not a pawn shop where you can hawk your personal goods. A major argument ensued. She gave us two choices. 1, to go through the dumpster and salvage the things you threw out, or 2, refund me the adjusted cost of the items that you threw out. The manager then gave her two choices. 1, to leave, or 2, be escorted out by security. The manager did worry that there could be repercussions for throwing out all of her stuff, since technically corporate policy was we were supposed to hang on to lost and found items for 7 business days. He offered her some coupons to end things on a good note, and she did not take them. She screamed at us that we needed to replace everything and pay for new material to re-bedazzle them. So at that point, the manager more flatly insisted that she leave, and she didn't. She threw a fit, and security had to escort her out. To our total shock, she kept telling security that she worked there, and it really confused them because they had never seen her, so they weren't sure if it was because she was crazy or if it was because she was from corporate. We had to explain to security and her that in fact she did not work here and this partnership was non-existent. Again, explaining that she couldn't sell her own products here in our department store. She kept saying that we can negotiate you a higher cut. That was just my starting offer, and I can pay you more. So after a bit, the manager just gave up on explaining and stopped engaging with her. She tried to come in every day for a week after that, sneaking more things into the store, to the point that we had to have a security guard stand right near the door to redirect her before she could even step inside. She got in one more time through the fire door, which set the fire alarm off, and we had to evacuate the store. We let her know loud and clear that the next time, the police would handle her. I guess some other stores had already made good on that promise, so she stopped coming. But she kept doing this elsewhere around town for several weeks until she was blacklisted by every store, from the highest end boutiques to the dollar store. Now, I don't know if she didn't understand how stores worked or she just didn't care, but she really created a lot of extra work for us. Guys, this story is absolutely fantastic. It's gotta be one of the weirdest and most amazing stories that I've read. I have to give props to that woman though. She's a mad hustler, going to all the department stores in the city to sneak her things in and actually having people buy those goods. She's got potential, she just went about it the wrong way. So this happened a long time ago. I was helping a girl who had terminal cancer with her final preparations and wishes, and she had requested to go on a cruise with her family, and the Make-A-Wish program was happy to help her. She was really sweet, and soon we formed a friendship. So the day she was about to formally request her wish, she looked really sad and didn't want to talk to anyone. So I came by and asked what's wrong, but she wouldn't tell me. It broke my heart to see her tearing up. Thankfully, after some time, she told me she didn't want a cruise and she hated the idea. She wanted to meet her dream celebrity, like she'd seen the other kids do. I told her, no problem, I'll speak so we can find the celebrity she wanted, but she said to not even bother, because her mother had screamed at her and scolded her when she first said she wanted to meet the celebrity. I found out her mother had told her to forget about her final wish, and to not be so selfish and to make this all about herself, and to ask for a cruise for the whole family. I asked her why her mom would want this when it's her final wish, and she said because her mom said the entire family can go, and it's something the mother wanted since she was a child. I was speechless and furious, and even now, I can't understand why a mother would get in the way of her daughter's final wish. It took me a while, but I did calm her down. I told her that it was her wish, not her mother's, and that I wanted her to be truly happy. She told me she always did what her mother asked, and the idea of doing something she wanted was foreign to her, but she smiled. She hugged me and said she'll speak to her mother and get the celebrity she wanted. Sadly, I had to leave for the day, but I was happy I was able to convince her. Unfortunately, the talk with mom did not go well, and she ended up requesting the cruise. Last time we spoke, she told me she did try, but she didn't want to make her family sad. She told me she wished so hard to meet the celebrity instead. I told her that she will meet him someday, and that she was an angel, and to not worry, the cruise will be amazing and she'll be treated like a princess. We hugged, we said goodbye, and she said she was really happy to have met me, and that she always looked forward to my visits because I didn't talk about her cancer, but made her laugh. It was a very hard day. The point of the story is, if you're a parent reading this, please listen to your child. Do not take away from their final wish, and make sure they're happy, because every second is precious. Guys, this is one of the stories that truly broke my heart, and going through some of the comments of the post, I guess it's something that's common. It's so sad that the mom conditioned her in such a way that even the last days, she was trying to keep the mom happy by doing what she wanted. I'm so upset. I keep telling myself that the mom had good intentions and wanted the family to do one last amazing thing with the girl and build memories on the cruise, but man, it's so hard to force myself to believe that. So, this actually happened to a friend of my stepfather's. The woman in the story is a wonderful down-to-earth woman who just so happens to be extremely wealthy and owns a lot of local businesses. However, she doesn't dress like she has money. Her name is Pam. Pam was out one day shopping and she had been killing time before an important business meeting and decided to head inside early. Pam had walked in to speak to the old manager about the yearly takings and the new hires. She was dressed casual, as usual. Now, the new manager was a new hire and seemed to be a perfect fit, apart from thinking a little too highly of herself and had a slightly snooty attitude. However, this was common for the area and the younger generation, so old manager decided to give her a go and hired her. So Pam walks in early for the meeting and began browsing, just waiting for the old manager. The new manager sees this and gives Pam a dirty side-eye glance. Pam's checking prices, moving items back to where they should be, etc., and obviously new manager finds this strange. The new manager runs over looking annoyed, shouting at Pam to stop touching the product, that they're obviously well out of her price range and they do not allow people in just to browse. She rips the product out of Pam's hands, insisting that she should not even be in the store, that she's definitely not the type of client they cater for, and she must leave. She said, "You're off-putting to customers." Now, Pam just stares at the new manager, wide-eyed, while the new manager is attempting to hustle Pam towards the outside door. Pam, without saying a word, shoves off the new manager and storms past her, going into the back office. The new manager runs after her screaming that she definitely can't be back there, and if she doesn't leave, she'll call the police and Pam will be arrested. Now at this point, the other staff members and customers are standing just watching this all unfold. When the new manager makes it into the office, she finds Pam on the office phone, just starting a conversation. The new manager screams again that Pam cannot be back here, all the while grabbing for the office phone. A few moments later, the old manager rushes back into the office, mobile phone in hand, with a shocked expression on her face. New manager doesn't see this and again screams at Pam that she can't be back here and that she's gonna call the police and have Pam arrested. Pam has now had enough and shouts, "You'll have me arrested from a store that I own?" Pam looks at the old manager and says, "Can you please calm this girl down, explain to her who I am, why I'm here, and please tell me what in the world you were thinking when you took her on?" With this, the new manager suddenly pipes down and looks around. She heard what Pam had said, but obviously took a few minutes to process. The new manager is introduced to Pam and told that Pam is the owner and the landlord, that the whole row of shops belongs to her. The new manager just stood there shocked, as white as a ghost. Pam sat down in the office chair with a coffee in hand and smiled at the old manager. Now, Pam was never really a lady to raise her voice, but to be honest, she didn't need to. When she spoke, there was a certain air of authority about her, usually twinged with kindness and smiles. Not today, however. Pam simply explained that the one thing she hated most in the world was being treated differently. To her, it didn't matter if you had a penny or $1 million, she would still treat you the same. This was the motto of her business, and this girl had gone against everything she believed in. This was truly unacceptable and would not be tolerated. Who knows how many potential customers she chased away because of the way they look. So it's safe to say the new manager lost her job. Pam and her husband were extremely wealthy, but it was all the hard work and effort that got them there. They never would have done it without the people who had been there for them when they started out with nothing. They never forgot who they were or where they came from and always treated everybody they met with kindness and compassion. I hope that snooty new manager learned her lesson that day, guys. It's not that hard to look rich. Anybody can swipe a credit card and go into thousands of dollars in debt to give the false appearance of being rich. But that aside, I love the message behind the story, guys. Treat everybody equally, and kindness and compassion do go a really long way. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /EntitledPeople. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me again today and listening to these wacky stories. If you missed yesterday's episode, I will link it right here. A Karen dares OP to have her arrested after throwing a huge tantrum in a store, not knowing that OP is an off-duty cop. Yikes. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.